Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to another episode of MechaWill Plays Dark Souls 3 with his friend, with his good old buddy, which, from the screen here, you would only be able to know as Alistair, but if you're looking to check out his Dark Souls YouTubing channel, he just started up. He's quite a lovely dude. Just go ahead and check the link below, and if you don't want to do that, you can just search up Darkmoon Knight. What a good guy. Anyway, thank you guys for joining me again. This has been a lovely series here. You guys may have noticed that we did start off in a slightly different place than where we left off the last time, but that's because I'm waiting for this. Because you know what? It's boss time. I've been having so much fun with this game. Dark Souls 3, obviously one of the best games to be released this year. It's such a lovely, just a lovely game from Software here. But you're just going to be watching my first attempt at this upcoming duel. It's been a little bit of time. There's been a couple of days in between the episodes, so I do apologize. These things were supposed to come out on the daily. Look at that. Strong man. Strong man. These were supposed to come out on the daily, but, you know, life doesn't always go according to plan. You want it to. So I was reading these messages, and I was like, yeah, okay, all right, I don't know what's coming up here, but the help me doesn't seem like it's the best thing. And here...
Oh dear. Another dogged contender.
We go.
Welcome, unkindled one, purloiner of cinders. Mind you, the mantle of Lord interests me none.
Alright, oh, look at that creepy motherfucker coming in.
King curse, the legacy of lords.
That's some dope armor, though.
You've done quite enough. Now have your rest.
What do you think that guy was doing just chilling in that back corner before we came in to fight him? They just kind of like skulking in the shadows. So anyway, we're fighting Lorian, the Elder Prince, and it's the first time I had doing this. I did hear about you know, some possible teleporting nonsense going on. So as you can see, the first time I saw that, I started rolling away. They see me rolling, hating, and know that I'm gonna get sliced by Lorian. So, anyway, we're taking them on co-op, and I normally like to take on these bosses one at a time by my lonesome, but you know, it was what had to be done. Such a cool boss design. It's such a cool intro too. But as you can see, we're kind of trashing him, and you know, it may have marginalized a little bit what the battle was supposed to be, but take a look at that guy. Look at that heavy ass swing. It did some good damage. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to do that. I mean, I did. You're kind of standing in my way of my goals, my future victory in the series, so had to be done. Yeah.
Brother,
all right, so they're family.
I'm on my way.
And you know what it's like when you fuck up somebody's family. It's not, look, like I said, it had to be done.
Unyielding sword of Lothric's prince.
It's okay.
Rise if you would.
Alright, this is some creepy stuff going on.
For that is our curse.
The curse to never die. Seems like a familiar aspect of these games. As you can see, the guy's just deciding to say, fuck you. Let's put another person in this fight, somebody that can heal the big guy. This reminds me of this like short story. I forget what it was called, but it was about this kid who was like a genius, and this like, you know, big muscly guy who was like kind of dumb, but the kid always rode on the back of the muscly guy, so they were kind of like a big pair. And I think somebody died at the end, and no spoilers because I can't even remember the title of the book, but it was kind of heartbreaking. Anyway, that's probably what's about to happen to these guys, you know. But as you can see, now we're starting to get some magic chicanery going on here. It's not something I appreciate, but you know, it has to be done. It's a battle of epic ages, as you can definitely hear from the badass music going on in the background. They wanted me for the choir. I had to turn them down. I was a little bit busy at the time, but they initially were like, "Hey, can you fly over to, you know, our Japanese headquarters and add some of your own, you know, lovely, add some of your own lovely vocal tones in there?" And I said, "You know what? Sounds great, but I get these offers on the daily, and I just got to decline. It's not nothing personal towards you. It's just, you know, It's just good business. Jack Sparrow. It's just good business. Okay, so I believe, yeah, if I'm not mistaken, the way this thing works. All right, oh my God. You can see my boy back there. He was like, hey man, I know exactly what's going on. And then I just kind of stood there. This is my first time, but I was thoroughly impressed by this boss. Keep in mind, I'm in the first new game cycle. Haven't gone into New Game Plus at all, so the bosses are, tend to be a little bit easier. I'll mark them after I shove my sword in your face. Is that all right? You little bitch. My friend was talking up this boss. He's like, this boss is gonna be welcome. He's like, this boss is gonna be too tough for you, man. We might have to do a couple tries. And we just kind of wrecked him. This is by my all-time favorite emote. Yes. So anyway, friend disappears, and I believe it's at this point that we start moving on to a different section. But I wanted to make sure we got that boss battle in there because, god damn. Well, whew, what were my feelings at this point in time? I was feeling, I was feeling a little exasperated. I was feeling, that was an epic boss battle that I was a little bit ashamed that I didn't fight it on my own. But when you're in a co-op sesh, co-op is co-op. I wasn't quite aware of where to go next. This part gets a little bit confusing because you end up here and you're like, well, what's up? What's up, dog? I did everything that you asked me to. I live my life not for honor but for you. So here I'm probably like, consulting somebody as to where I should go at this point. Commentary will return once the gentleman starts moving. All right, well, that was way quicker than I thought it would be. I don't know, I'm going to return it here. Let's pop this bonfire like we're popping mollies back at the club. I'm about to bust the club up in your butt. All right. To Firelink Shrine. So there's been a lot of talk about DLCs for this game. It's something I've been super excited for. The DLCs are always, by far some of the best parts of the actual game. That's right, we're going to do some levels. So basically, like, the first game, if you guys can remember, Dark Souls 1, a beauty in its own right, the fucking Helen of Troy, the one that everybody, the most beautiful woman alive, if games were women, which they're not. But it had the Artorias of the Abyss DLC expansion pack, which was great. It gave us, look, game's a couple years old. If you're worried about spoilers, you can go fuck yourself. Dark Souls 1 had, the Artorias of the Abyss boss fight. One of the best, well-designed, with the feels and everything in it, boss fights of the goddamn century. Secondarily, it had the Manus of the Abyss boss fight, which is the second, by far, like one of the most daunting, yet not yet, but daunting, challenging, but yet also endearing boss fights of that era. I spent so long trying to beat Manus, I got really frustrated. I remember when I was first fighting, the good old boy we call Manus. As we can see, I'm starting to, what am I leveling here? A little dex? As yes, I was thinking about it. I was like, do I want to level dex? And then I asked myself, am I a scrub? And the answer was no. Get fucking good, casual. Nobody, and I was like, I got this extra point here. Should I put it in intelligence maybe? It's going to make me smarter. And I was like, am I a fucking scrub? No. And I was like, do I want to be a badass? Yeah. Let's put the point in the strength. And that's 100% what I did.
Farewell, Ashen One.
Farewell, beautiful, lovely lady. Hey girl, I'm undead. I've beaten 4 of the boss characters in the game. Would you like to have a drink with me?
Gracious, let I.
Alright, this chick, I skipped her dialogue just because she says the same things all the time. But anyway, like I was saying about the DLCs, there's been a lot of speaking, a lot of talking about the DLCs. I'm hoping that they're going to come up soon. We've got some different Game Awards shows in which, Sony Japan and From Software generally will, dispel some sort of information about the DLCs, but nothing has been said yet. The only thing that we know is that there's going to be 2 of them. And here I am trying to buy some unique armor sets because that's the other fun of the game. You want to make sure you got that fashion souls down. You don't want to be walking, you know, the undead fashion walk and not showing up with your shiny ass Faram armor set? Do you? No. No, you don't. I was looking at this shit because we just got that and reading some lore. Armor of Prince Lothric's older brother Lorian. This black dyed brass helm is patterned with something something. But basically, the bosses we just killed, they were brothers. There's a little tidbit of lore behind them. I'm no Pt.3, but I'll tell you something. I got a voice I can put to goddamn good use. You know, put me in a prostitute house and I'll announce, you know, certain things for them and give me a little cut of the procedure, and I'll be okay with that. Ancient chest piece of a set cast iron armor belonging to Champion Gundyr. So I'm very interested in looking at these sets. They got a lot of cool, you know, cool ass designs on them. And yes, the sunless armor I felt like I deserved. But basically, those I believe were the last Lords of Cinder that we needed to defeat to kind of move on in this playthrough. And I do tie up a little bit of loose ends. I always like to get some of the extra, you know, the extra bosses. We don't want to defeat the game without getting all of it in there. In this game, actually, while we're on that front, this game is actually one of the shorter games in the series. I don't know if I say that just because I've gotten a little bit better at playing the games, but you know, I think even as far as just area count, you know, boss count, stuff like that, if that even matters to people, which sometimes it does, I'm not gonna put it past them. You know, the Dark Souls 2 game thing had quite a bit more than I think a lot of them. I think even Dark Souls 1 might have been a little bit of a longer game. Or maybe it's just to the point where I'm just an OG badass and I can just do these things on the fly and, you know, beat them in under 5 hours. I did get a little tip here about how to, you know, get some of the Titanite slabs that you can get in the game. If you guys haven't seen this little section. You. Me, Pickle P. They wanted me to do the voice for that too. I also had to turn them down. I was too busy doing something else at that point in time. But you know, I got a lot of contacts from the industry. You know, they're like, yo, they got my personal cell phone number, like, yo, MechaWill, you know, you cool guy. But I wanted to make sure that we got the Titanite slab, because there's a very finite amount of Titanite slabs you can get into the game in every new game cycle, and if you miss out on them and you go into the next new game, like, you kind of have to go through like a large part of the game just to start getting more slabs, so you can upgrade your equipment and whatnot. I was contemplating here just jumping off and dying, and then I realized, or you know, jumping off, and then I realized it'd probably kill me. I had a small flashback to the Nexus in Demon Souls, where, you know, if you go up to a height, you know, it's a little bit higher than that one because the drop damage was a little bit lower, and then you just jump off. That's like, you know, the best way to kill yourself if you want to change your world tendency to black. You guys don't even know what the fuck I'm talking about. Go out and go play it, man. Get yourself a PS3. They're like $100. You can find a pre-owned one. What are you doing with your life when you haven't played Demon Souls? It's a great question. The answer is you don't deserve it. You don't deserve any of it. So this is just some more. I guess I'm just picking out some stuff. This, you know what, you guys, you guys don't want to see what it's like. By the way, one of the best helmets I've found in the game is that Faram helmet, and that's why I referenced it earlier, because I don't play no game. I don't joke around. You guys know me. You know my channel. I don't joke. Who tells jokes? Jokes are for the weak. They're not funny at all. And I just tell it to you straight. I give you the truth. And the truth is that helmet is badass, as well as the rest of the armor set. I think that's what I just bought. So I think at this point I'm contemplating just like jamming on the whole set just to see what it looks like in this sort of playthrough. By far one of my favorite armor sets of all time. The curious thing is that, so like, you know, going back to the DLC, which we were talking about, the DLC is going to be, you know, I think, you know, there's a lot of hints that's going to be rumored or, you know, modeled around the themes of light and dark in this game. There's a really cool video that Pt.3 just put out. He's one of the more prominent Souls guys. Put out a lore video explaining what he thinks the two DLCs are going to be about, and, you know, he put together a lot of good evidence, and I thought, you know what, this guy's got his ducks in a row. You know, should probably give him a like on that video, because it was a sweet video. But basically, it explained that there's a lot of different imagery in this game, but specifically at one of the one of the lower points of the game where you're going down, vertically speaking lower. You're going down, and then you find yourself this little dark wraith at the end of a pit. And you have to kill him. It's part of a quest for one of the NPCs. But then also at another point in the game, you're climbing up to the top of this balcony, and you find this cage that's opened, and it's got a lot of feathers in it, and there's a dead corpse inside the cage. So the imagery really here is of, like an angel and a demon kind of thing. The angel, trapped up in the cage above that died, and then the dark wraith that you got to slaughter at the bottom kind of represents the demon. And since there's 2 DLCs, they may be focusing on the dark side of this world, and then the angelic side of this world. Apparently the angels are like an actual concept in this game. You see a lot of statues in Dark Souls 3 that have like angel wings, and I guess it represents a lot of the Way of White, which is one of the covenants headed by Guinevere, who's the daughter of Gwyn, that basically just pushes the undead to light the flame. So that's something that's been discussed since Dark Souls 1, and you start to realize, through Dark Souls 1, or if not at that point through Dark Souls 2, that lighting the fire may not be the best choice. And in fact, for the most part of the game, you're being lied to about the benefit and what that does for you as far as like having the flame lit. So I don't know if you guys wanted to sit down for Dark Souls History 101, but I'm really, 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 really excited. Do you hear my voice? Really excited for the DLCs that are coming out, and I don't know when they're gonna come out, but I will purchase them immediately. But that's why I wanted to kind of talk about that for a little bit, because my character on screen, as you may have noticed, is doing nothing. So kudos to that guy. But Fashion Souls wise, look at that sweet setup, dog. Look at that helm. It's got that little ridge on the top. It's nice and hard. Giggity, it's what the girls like. They like a man that can fight with a good helmet on top of it. I don't know what you guys are thinking of, but you guys are disgusting. You need to take that filth elsewhere. I really don't appreciate when people take my comments and they devalue them to like disgusting sexual innuendo, and it's not what I'm here for. This isn't why you watch my videos. It's not why I'm here commentating. You guys can take that dirty shit and move it outside. Because when you're in here in my videos, you're in my home. You're in my home with me. If you're physically in my home with me, we'd be a little cramped, but we'd make it work. We'd find a way. Speaking of, the channel's, just experiencing some more growth and success, which is great. It's always good to kind of count these. Maybe it's better for like a more of a separate video, but I'm glad to see that we're kind of moving towards a larger community, which is great. Hopefully at this point, we can start to get more people in, because more people makes the world go round. The more the merrier, that kind of stuff. We can start having more, serious chats about this kind of thing. So here, I think, we're trying to figure out what it is that I need to do that I haven't done yet. So we're gonna be moving on into like a newer area here that I don't think I had done before, and that's certainly not the Grand Archives, because that's what we finished up in the last couple episodes. Where are you taking me? Somewhere over the rainbow. Okay, we found our way back to the... Look, don't ask me to be the guy that explains his own character's motivations. This man has a will of his own. I also recorded this maybe a couple weeks ago, so I can't remember what I was doing at this point in time. But it looks like I just kind of came here to stand here, which is interesting. All right. Yes? No? Look, dog, do what you want to do. I don't judge you. I don't judge your life, but you're just kind of standing there, checking out your character. It's like, look at these biceps, man. But I do hope you took that time to exclaim how bad, look at my character and then exclaim how badass he is in the comments. Please do go down and see, is my fashion on point? That's what I'm asking you guys. Take this as a pseudo MechaWill discussion. Is my Fashion Souls on point? My opinion, I think it is. Down in the comments, fucking debate me. I obviously don't know what I was doing there. I think that it was like, you know, he told me to go to some place so we could get him summoned, and then we realized we killed the boss of the area, so we couldn't summon. So it was, you know, it's probably time to go to a different area. Yeah, as you can see on this list here, I'd already defeated the Untended Graves. If you guys never been to the Untended Graves, the Untended Graves is a beautiful location. It's basically a little hidden area you get to after the boss Osiris, the Consumed King. Look, if you don't want to be here for spoilers, don't be watching a Let's Play that's moving towards the end of the goddamn game. At this point, the game's been out long enough. I feel like you guys have all gotten to this point, and so you might be asking yourself, well, if everybody here has already gotten to it, why the fuck you explaining something that we all know about? That's a great question. Thanks for being the fucking person in the crowd who likes to stand up and fucking, you know, messes up the actual person that's presenting and adding something in the community. Fuck you. Sit down. I'll finish it's my own Let's Play. I'll finish it. I'll finish it the way that I goddamn please. Irithil Dungeon, which is something that we haven't scratched on this surface at least, is an area that I am not fond of. Look at that guy. He just came right after me. Kind of missed them. And the reason is because of this bullshit. All this stuff. By the way, you know, again, I like to point out, if you guys have ever played Demon's Souls, which again, to the 20% of you that have, you guys know exactly what area I'm talking about. But this is the Tower of Lothric, like by far. As you can see, the health kind of starts to go down. They all have their shtick, but basically, you know, even the design of the enemies in Lothric, there are these what they call the mind. I guess I don't know, they didn't call them that, but they're like mind flayers, which is like an old D&D enemy that basically suck the juice out of your brain. And they looked quite a bit like these nuns that are going around with these little torches. And the mind flayers are very dangerous. They'd kill you in one hit, just like these guys who are very dangerous, and they have their own little shtick about, like, you know, sucking up your health bar instead of your brain juice. But people are always sucking, you know, all the time. A good, you know, most of the time it's a good thing. You know, again, get your minds out of the gutter. I'm talking about like sucking up, you know, smoothies. I'm talking about slurping, you know, a delicious treat. But, you know, sometimes it's just like, no. You know, can we stop the amount of vacuum power running through our human mouths at this point in time? So here I'm taking some time, I guess it looks like, to just kind of explore a little bit. Oh, boy. This guy's just standing in the corner. What'd he do? Why don't you put a dunce cap on him too, teacher? Why don't you humiliate him even further? Why don't you get him to the point where he starts not believing in our educational system, which, to be fair, doesn't have a lot of, holy shit, doesn't have a lot of belief yet. I hate that creature, by the way. Oh my god, stop it. They're all coming after me. I don't know what to do. I feel like Jason Statham in The Transporter, man. He just knows where to go, you know, what things to open, how to, like, you know, leverage his invulnerability in certain situations. Not Jason Statham in The Transporter 2, which, you know, fuck The Transporter 2. But I know exactly where we're going to, actually, at this point. So we're going to be starting to move on some cooler areas, and we're going to get to one of my particular favorite secret locations in the game. So if you guys haven't played Dark Souls 3 and you're just kind of watching this for shits and giggles, or because you support me as a creator, in which, hey, thank you for doing that. It's something that I appreciate. I can't really pay you back because I don't know who you are, but I'll try just to, you know, to give you as much content as I can. You guys are about to see something pretty cool and pretty obscure. It would be really tough for you to figure this out on your own. Because it, you know, requires a lot of specificities that you may not be aware of. Still using my +10 broadsword infused with a heavy gem. Not necessarily the best trick, but you know what? It mows down these guys like a boss. Adios. I was gonna get those guys, 'cause, you know, fuck them, but like, I realized I didn't need them. Just descend down the ladder, man. Oh, what a day, what a day. So we're rolling on through. There used to be a massive giant here, which was kind of a pain in my ass. Brat. rats. The vile putrescence of this world, man. Rats just need to go. I don't know. They got to go. I don't know what's up with these rats, but like, you know, what do they do for society? They just live in squalor and filth, and they put diseases on people, man. I'm gonna start a campaign, you know, instead of corralling undead to the north, it's time to corral the rats to the north, man. Who cares about the rats? Nobody. They don't need to be saved. Undead rats that keep respawning is literally my #1 nightmare. Here I'm trying to figure out where to go. I'm going the wrong way. Turn around. Turn around. Oh no, I went the right way. So I apologize for that. I was just trying to fool you, trying to see if you guys knew where I was going. Yeah, right. But basically, you find your way to this location, which we have. And to the left and the right, you see all these people in this weird pose, all staring out towards the sunrise. Here I am, trying out a pose. Pose isn't the right pose. And I realized that I left the pose here. Pocket full of posy. So the Path of the Dragon is a place that you get in a very obscure location after a boss that is optional, but you can see they're all staring out towards that little cliff in the distance, which is very interesting. So it's just time to join them in a seance. And a little cutscene appears, just like you may remember from, you know, like getting back to the Undead Asylum in Dark Souls 1 type of thing. Also, that guy has no arms or legs, so I'm sorry about that, dude. That was a slight pause in the recording there. Hopefully the synchronicity will be up. That's not a word. That's okay. So as you can see, in the distance, we bow our head towards the magnificence of whatever we're looking at. I have no idea actually what we're looking at, but we're about to find out. But that sounded like a nasty scream, so I'm not looking forward to that. Also, Spider Shield. Spider-Man. Spider-Man would have his ass roasted. He would get roasted and toasted in this world, man. What's he gonna do? He's gonna swing around? He's gonna get himself decimated by something like, you know what, man? I bet you he wouldn't have been able to get past the Asylum Demon. So anyway, we found our ways to what is possibly the most beautiful section of the game. Something I was... Ooh, rocks. Sorry about that. Something I was definitely not expecting when I walked into it. In fact, right now, my brain is going, what the shit is this? Why is there a dead man next to a tree? All this and more will be answered. Actually, the dead man, he's never answered. I mean, he's just kind of just sitting there. But anyway, welcome to Archdragon Peak. You guys may know these faithful, lovely... Oh, boy. Just suck me up. God, suck me up and spit me out. Yeah, so anyway, I just got myself parried. So I don't know if you guys saw that, but it's not cool. Not cool for me. You know, it's not a great day when, you know, you're trying to fight and the enemies that are fighting are obviously way better than you. I'm taking a lot of damage here. Just close your eyes, kids, because this isn't getting pretty, man. I'm getting my heart eaten out, even with my new shiny armor. Don't you eat me. Put that head back where it came from. Anyway, a little bit of slice and dice. And I guess the other one just fell off the cliff, so sucks for him. But it's good for us. That's got to be the worst thing. What if you were like an ancient warrior and you were like battling and then you just like stepped backwards off the cliff and died? That's got to feel terrible, man. You trained your whole life for this. You were fighting since you were a kid. I'm talking Sparta, age of 7. And you know, you were supposed to be the next, like, chosen one. You're supposed to, you know, lead the people, you know, to salvation. And then, whoops. Well, this is an elevator. Oh, very, very astute. Great observation, MechaWill. I should really, you know what? You should stop being like a channel based on like discussions and cool, you know, let's plays and commentary and stuff like that. You should be, you know, a fucking guy that points out things, you know. We'll call you an observationalist. You know, we'll ask you to point out, you know, stuff that's really obvious. It sounds like a great job for you, MechaWill. It sounds like something that you can stop it. All right, I don't like the toasting going on right now. Small amount of roasting, good amount of toasting. All right. bleed it out, dig it deeper just to throw it away. And we found ourselves our first bonfire. We're safe, guys. We can die forever, but we'll always be respawning at this lovely bastion of hope. I can tell you, ladies and gentlemen, that I really am enjoying this episode and this area, and you guys do not want to miss what's coming up. It has some of the nastiest boss fights in the game, and some of the most beautiful visages. Look at you bringing out that 4th grade vocabulary. But anyway, we're going to be ending the episode here. You guys seriously don't want to miss the next one, so if you guys want to make sure and know when it gets uploaded, just go ahead and give my channel a subscribe, and it will notify you when the video is up. And if you guys like this video, we do appreciate the likes. It definitely helps the content out a little bit. I say we to make it seem like my channel is more than I am, but it's not. But anyway, I thank you guys for dropping by so much, and hope you guys enjoyed the episode. I will see you next show.